Hey you guys, welcome back to another episode of the Sunday Scaries. I love that I just decided to create this little series for you guys, and it's actually taken off quite a bit. I don't know how long I'm going to keep it up, but it was really something on my heart to get really detailed about how it feels on a Sunday night when you're an anxious person and you feel like you haven't got everything done because you're likely a burned out woman who puts too much on your plate and then beats yourself up for not getting it all done. Anyways, I want to chat about like when the day doesn't go as planned. We oftentimes have these days where we just know, like, I have so much to do. I have X, Y, and Z on my plate, plus I am a mom, or I'm an entrepreneur, or I'm a busy healthcare worker, or whatever it is, right? And we tend to still put too much on our plates. And then we just dread Sundays, or we just feel like there's not enough time in the day because if you're like me, you get those Sunday scaries because you haven't had time to unwind, ground, relax before the next week comes. And that is something that we always crave, right? So if we're putting too much on our plate and all of that, then we're running around like a crazy person and we end up inevitably having some type of meltdown. So, this is the episode for when you're in that meltdown phase. You are just overly emotional. You just are staring at your to do list and you're crying. You're maybe turning around and screaming and yelling at your family that they can't help you. They're not doing things right, whatever it is. This is the episode for you. We are going to walk through that. Hey, friend, welcome to the Ready to Rise podcast with your host, me, Audrey Rose. This is the podcast all about taking your life to the next level. Join me on my journey as I create a life that I'm obsessed to wake up for every day. I hope that you are ready to create a life that you really, really love. Are you ready to rise? So if you're like me, you tend to have these days where everything can get out of hand easily because there's so much going on, there's so much to do, and it just tends to affect your productivity, it affects your emotions, it in turn just affects your entire day, and sometimes we end up in this full meltdown stage where then we can't do anything for ourselves because we just cannot focus. You take a full meltdown, a full procrastination day, not getting any of these things done, and of course, after that, it just makes us feel so much more guilty, so much more upset and behind, right? Like now we're behind a full day rather than just half a day. So I want you to just take a minute and start to think about what it would look like to set up a small routine for yourself when you feel like that. And of course, it first has to start, like everything else does, with acknowledging it, setting up some type of check-in with yourself in the morning or some type of routine or whatever. And I'm speaking from complete personal experience. This happened to me yesterday at the time of the recording. Yesterday was not a Sunday for me. It was actually a Saturday. And I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden in the morning, it was just like, okay, I have to do this, this, and this for all these different things. And that's the problem as a woman, I think, is we're great at multitasking, but we're not good at compartmentalizing. So I can't just think like, oh, this is what I'm doing for my class, my nursing school, whatever. And this is what I'm doing for, my business. This is what I'm doing for whatever, this aspect of my life. And then this other aspect. Then enter the fiance who, God love him, he's amazing, but he's just like, oh, hey, did we pay this bill? Did we do this thing? Did we do this? Now all of a sudden I'm in a full tailspin and I'm just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So of course I reach for the Soul CBD, CBD gummy. Like, let me get rid of some of this anxiety. But then before even like having that, I completely shut down and I literally had to go take a nap. And of course, then I was just like, wow, now I'm behind half my day. I've completely had a full meltdown. I haven't gotten anything done. I'm so upset. And here's something. So first is acknowledging it. Acknowledging what just happened and acknowledging like, okay, this just happened. I'm in a tailspin. I'm in this moment, or I'm post tailspin and I'm post nap and I'm like ready to try to like, my nervous system's been regulated again because I shut down. So now I can try again, right? So it's like acknowledging where you're at in the spectrum of your stages of a meltdown or your stages of overwhelm, and then adding something in for yourself that's going to help you. So for me, it's like I have to write a list. I have to see everything written down in front of me, and then I can move things around. I can block out 3 things that are important for today 6 things that I can try to start on another day. However, in that moment, I just tailspinned and I didn't even get to the acknowledgement phase until after I woke up from a nap. And thank God I was able to take that great nap. But first step, acknowledging. Where are we? What's going on? What do I need to do? What's happening? Like, where am I at in this stage? Do I have the capacity to write out a list of these things or start moving into the second phase, which is asking yourself questions? Or what is one thing I can knock out right now off my list, right? Like a lot of people say this, I sit here and I talk about the dishes and I talk about the dishes and then I think about the dishes and then I maybe do the dishes. It's like it would take you 3 minutes to just go do the dishes. So what is it that you're thinking about? What's stressing you out? What's one thing I can take action on right now? And then not letting myself slip out of it. If I have the mental capacity, if I have the physical capacity and the ability to go and do those dishes real quick, let's do it. Don't sit here and, procrastinate about it, beat yourself up that it's going to be so annoying, it's going to take so much time, whatever. Just go do it, get through it so that you can then move on to the next thing in your life, right? Like, let's move on to the next part of the list. Lori Harder recently spoke about this and talking, for her, she called them like mini actions or mini next steps. So she's like, I'm going to string together my mini next steps. And that's exactly it, right? Is like, what can I do? What's the one thing I can do right now and take it quickly off of my plate so that I'm not overwhelmed about it for the rest of the day. And then that is that mini next step. That's the next action that we're going to do, right? So say it's the dishes, again, like the example. Go knock it out real quick. But then when you're almost done with that, just remind yourself, what's that next thing I can do? What's the next thing I can do after that? And also keeping in mind, what is going to make me feel good? What little thing can I do it's actually going to make me feel better? What is something that I want to take off my plate maybe, like maybe going to the gym or going on a quick walk, but it's actually going to lift my spirits and make me feel a little bit better. So don't take those things off your list, right? So what's your next step after doing the dishes? What's your next step after doing that thing? What's the next step after that? Because accumulated, they're all going to make your day so much better. And before you know it, you're basically out of that rut and you've avoided the emotional meltdown because you've started to take action. So I think the main point to remember is just to do one thing. When you're feeling stressed, you're feeling anxious, you're so overwhelmed because there's too much on your plate and it's a lot to do, it can easily lead to a meltdown. So how can we avoid that? By taking action on one thing. Take action on one thing and then ask yourself, what's the next thing I can take action on? And before you know it, you've started making progress towards that to-do list, towards checking things off. And now we don't have the meltdown happening because now we've made a ton of a dent into things. We've made a ton of progress. So keep that in mind next time that you're feeling a little bit freaked out about life and all the things that you have to do. Just make progress on one thing and let it lead you into the next. Hey you guys, it's that time where there's just a quick announcement. I'm super pumped that this burnout movement is seriously taking over. Like, you guys, we had so much fun in the previous Bliss Master class, and we have opened up the Master Course. It's super exciting. The Master Course is open right now. You can join. We are kicking things off, and that's all on Instagram or, helloaudreyrose.com, where you can get all those details. But I really want to let you know that I'm so excited to announce that we are having another virtual masterclass, and this one is all about honoring our bodies. We're slowing down. We're going to do a little sound bath. We are going to learn a lot about gut health, and it's just so exciting. This one is also going to be virtual. So if you just text HONOR to 707-347-0723. You're going to get on the list for that, and there's so much more going on. I am so excited for you, and be on the lookout. If you go to helloaudreyrose.com/events, you're going to be the first to know about all of the new courses coming up, the coaching we have coming out, and the best part, my favorite, the retreats. Woohoo! I'm so excited, you guys. Check it out. And as always, everything's going to be posted on my Instagram, which is @HelloAudreyRose. I'm I'm so happy you got to make it to another amazing episode of the Ready to Rise podcast. Don't hesitate to share this with a friend that needs to hear it. Send it straight to their DMs. Take a screenshot, throw it up in your stories, tag me in it at Hello Audrey Rose. And don't forget, if you leave a written review on the iTunes app, that also helps people find it. So if it resonates with you, help others find it. And I can't wait to hear how much you loved this awesome episode. Have a blessed day.